what the airlines are looking at doing is kind of creating a family section. And they ought to do this for the people that need the service dogs, too. They should have a service dog section.
Absolutely.
The problem is I don't think they have that many service dogs trying to fly on each flight.
I don't know. If you pay attention to headlines lately, it seems like a lot. Like they outnumbered the humans in the sky.
Now, I'm sure, in the way things are today, people are going to complain they don't like being separated. And this is separating classes once again. But typically, you get on an airplane, you have coach, you have first class. In some airlines, they have this kind of upgraded like middle class, like where you get a little bit more leg room and they give you one free drink. But this idea is great. So they're talking about a family section on the plane where if you have a kid, you would sit, and they haven't said the back, but I think the back would be probably the best. They say it's the safest part on an airplane if it goes down. But they would sit in the back of the airplane, and all people that are traveling with children would have to all sit together. Now, if you don't have kids and you're not traveling with kids and whatever the case is, and you're not a kid fan, the good news for you is that you will be towards the front of the plane and you won't have to deal with this. I mean, that's not saying you're not going to hear them, but if you have kids, I would think if I had kids, like when I had my dog, the one thing I never wanted to do when I took him places was impose on other people's space or made, so my goal was to always make sure he was really well trained. He didn't bark and, so this would be great for me. I would love to have kids. I would actually take some of the pressure off thinking, well, God, if my kids start screaming, I look around, everybody's looking at me.
So I would book with as a family man, I would book, I would look for seats in this section. The problem with the airlines implementing this is they would try to charge you more, monetize it. Yeah, they'd be like, oh, you want to sit in the family section? We're going to pay you more. They're looking at it as an opportunity. They're not looking at it as a service to other passengers. They're looking at it as an opportunity to try to squeeze more money out of you at the booking process.
In 2017, respondents from Airfare, I think there's a typo here. Airfarewatchdog.com did an annual travel survey.
What was the typo?
They have an F in W in this, instead of, I think, so it says Airfare, and it's not Airfare, it's Airfare. So they added a W in there. But anyways, they did a survey, and they found out that most people believe that kids under the age of 10 should sit with their parents in a separate section of the plane. Since then, Malaysia Air, Asia Air, and Scoot, as well as Indigo Airlines, began offering kid-free zones, meaning that they wouldn't sell tickets to families in a certain section of the plane where it would only be adults.
Yeah, I mean, I would be cool with this. In fact, I would encourage everyone with kids to do that, as long as the airlines, like when the airlines do that trick, they try to do that old sleight of hand when you're booking your flight, and they're like, pick your seat now, and all the seats that are available, the only seats that are available are $25. And you're like, well, what the hell? I just booked a flight on here, and then they have a bunch of other seats blocked out. Do you take your chances, or do you pay that $25 to know where you're going to sit?
Alaska doesn't work that way. So, and I only fly Alaska. Okay. So
I know Alaska doesn't work that way, and that's why Alaska kicks butt and is like killing everybody else.
I hate to say this, but
because they're focusing on the customers.
Here's a quick little tidbit: if you fly out of SLO and you fly Alaska to Seattle, and I think are they going to Denver as well? No. Okay, just Seattle right now. If you download the app, literally before boarding, you can be sitting there and change your seat. So you can look at an aisle where there isn't somebody next to you, or there's a window open because you want a window, and you can change it. But as soon as boarding starts, or 5 minutes before boarding, they shut that down. But you can literally change your seat right before it happens, which is pretty cool. So I haven't had to deal with that. Your thoughts always welcome. 543-3693. But it just sounds like it's a win-win for everyone.
You're such a you've got it so good because you only fly Alaska. Because Alaska doesn't have
I could choose to fly something else.
A lot of these tack-on fees. Like I booked a flight. We didn't end up going on the trip, which is another story for another day altogether, because the cancellation fee was just ridiculous. They're like, oh, yeah, you get $40 left over on your credit because the change fee is a $200 change fee per ticket. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? So there was $440 for us to fly to Phoenix, and we ended up getting $40 credit, 20 of which goes to me, 20 of which goes to my wife. What am I going to do with $20 on American Airlines? Just take the damn money. But anyway,
can you use it to buy booze or like a snack?
Well, if I go on a flight in the next, I have like by December to use that $40 credit, but I'm going to forget about it. And they gave me some code that I wrote down that I misplaced somewhere because that's the code I need to access the money that I already gave to them for a flight that I didn't take. I mean, this is how the airlines work. And if this is good. This is an awesome idea, but it's going to piss me off beyond belief if they start saying, okay, well, family section, you're going to have to pay extra to get in the family section, because then nobody's going to utilize it, especially being family people, because you're mad that you have to pay for your kid to go on the flight anyways, because it's...
Well, the way these other airlines have done it, they did kind of like a kid-free zone. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like you're guaranteeing them...
But you're talking about international carriers. We're talking about domestic carriers. Domestic carriers, you know what they do? They find a way to nickel and dime you as much as possible.
But what they'll do is they'll say, hey, for an extra $25, do you want to sit in the kid-free zone? And they'll get the people that don't want to be around kids.
Oh, but they'll get you coming and going, though. They'll say, hey, I see that you're traveling with kids. Do you want to sit in the family section? Pay $25 extra here. That's how the airlines work.
Yeah, if they don't screw you over that way, it actually sounds like a pretty good way to make everybody pretty happy.
Why is it every time I start talking about the airlines and their business model, it pisses me off to no end? People of the Central Coast are upset about the way things are working at the airport because there was a stabbing in Santa Maria yesterday, social media threats at Cabrillo, that there was a possible school shooting going to take place. Kids were being shot with BB guns in Lompoc. A lot of stuff going on in Lompoc yesterday for whatever reason. All these kinds of things going on in the news, and the lead story in the news last night.
Visitors are still unable to use the elevator from the parking lot to the terminal. KSBY News reporter Molly Casey spoke with travelers and airport officials about the delayed opening.
The elevator's broken at the airport.
Now, it's not the elevator in the airport. It's the elevator in the parking lot.
There's no elevator in the airport.
Right. It's the elevator from the lower parking lot to get up to the main, to the airport front doors.
Now, there's a ramp.
There is a ramp and there's stairs.
There's ramp that you can use because luggage. I mean, the reason why people would want an elevator to work is because of the luggage.
I watched a little of this morning.
There is a ramp, and this is a city that it prides itself on its ability to
be fit,
to ride 50 miles on a bicycle as if it was nothing.
Get out and hike.
Yeah, get out and hike. Go biking. Go doing anything. But walking up the ramp at the airport, oh, God.
I can't believe this is the lead story on the news last night. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
I just saw it this morning.
It was the lead story on the news last night.
I love living here.
What are you hearing out there?
Well, Karina, airport officials tell me that it's a delay in building.
You studied broadcasting in school. Can you tell me why it's necessary for well, you're doing it right now. Actually, I'm watching you to blink as much as they do. Why do they blink all the time? Like I was watching Robin Meade this morning on Headline News.
Oh, I have maybe the lights. I don't know.
I mean, she's just sitting there, and I'm like, guys, quit blinking. Like, if you want a drinking game where you're gonna get drunk, watch the news and drink and have a drink every time they blink.
I'm guessing it's the lights.
By the time the lead story about the broken elevator at the airport is done,
this elevator from opening and working, and it's not something that any of the travelers here want to hear. Now, the airport officials say it's something that's just a convenience, but those travelers don't agree.
A convenience or an inconvenience? I think she meant to say inconvenienced.
I was bummed to see that it was still closed.
A new airport terminal and a new elevator to and from the sunken parking lot. But travelers have yet to experience its convenience.
I don't think it has ever been open. I don't understand how you would open a brand new terminal and not have a working elevator.
Outrage! Outrage!
Well, I mean, you know what? Fly different airports! Go to a different airport! That's what you do, all right? If you don't like the damn elevator not working, you go to another airport. It's your right. You can go to Santa Maria. You can go to Santa Barbara. You can go down to Los Angeles. You can go to San Jose. You can go to Fresno.
If elevators are your prime concern when going to the airport, then San Luis Obispo Airport, not for you.
I mean,
Allison Hayward has been through San Luis Obispo Regional Airport before and finds it strange that the elevator is still out of order.
Airports are about safety. They're about convenience.
This is
and if the elevator isn't working, what else might not be working?
Can you back that up and play that again? That's my favorite one right there. You fearmonger.
And if the elevator isn't working, what else might not be working?
Yes. Landing gear? Wings?
Oh, my God.
Airplanes going into the sky?
So ridiculous.
The elevator is the first impression of the airport, okay?
Let me say this.
I don't want to go to an airport and see that the elevator's not working because the first impression of the airport is that, and it lies within the elevator.
It can't be easy to be a journalist and to report the news in this town if that has to be the lead story, number one. And
like
number
that it's
two,
the lead story.
this is it. This is it.
I love
if
that
the elevator doesn't work, what else isn't working at the airport?
And if the elevator isn't working, what else might not be working?
Oh, very good point.
All right.
Very good point, Cambrian resident.
Hi, go ahead. You're on the air. What did you want to say?
Hey, it's Craig. Dude, are we seriously complaining because an elevator doesn't work?
Exactly,
when
right?
there's stairs right next to it?
Stairs and a ramp, okay? Now, I would understand if I'm in a wheelchair and I'm parked out in that parking lot and I look at this and I'm like, okay, the elevator's not working. Okay, I'm a little perturbed.
Yeah.
But then there's a ramp. I make deal with the ramp. And it's keep in mind, none of the people that they spoke with are in wheelchairs, okay? The lady that's worried about the rest of the infrastructure of the airport, she's standing upright.
Okay, so I flew to Chicago on business this week. You want to talk about inconvenience? I flew on a United flight that I couldn't even bring a regular-size carry-on. I had to bring all of my luggage and something I could stuff under the seat in front of me. That's an inconvenience.
Wait,
an
listen.
elevator not working is nothing.
And when you fly regional airports like San Luis Obispo, how many gates are there now? 3, 4? I have no idea.
Is there 3?
I don't know how many gates
because I haven't flown out of the new airport.
I think, there's at least 2. I mean, there's probably 3 or 4, yeah.
So that is a convenience in its own right, okay? What do you do, lady, when you go to, I don't know, Mineta Airport in San Jose and you walk up to an elevator and it's not working? Because chances are there at any given time in an airport that big, there's going to be an elevator that is out of service.
Yeah.
It just so happens we only have one that's not working.
Thanks for the call, Craig. We appreciate it. Hi, go ahead. What did you want to say?
Good morning. This is David.
Hey, David, go ahead.
Yeah, I was in Denver. Flew out of a hub in Denver and had to walk 2 miles to my plane. Yeah. Ramp is nothing.
Yeah.
What else in Denver isn't working, David?
Yeah, imagine.
Thanks.
It's not like
Elevator isn't working, what else might not be working?
it's not like they dropped you off in downtown San Luis Obispo and said, "Okay, have good luck getting to the airport."
Good morning.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning on 93.3 KZOZ.